And CBS News senior foreign affairs correspondent and moderator of Face the Nation. That's Margaret Brennan. She's in Washington. Margaret, good morning. Things are not looking good in that region, and a lot of people say this is exactly as it was expected when U.S. troops were pulled out of the region. What are your sources telling you about what the administration may face now that chaos seems to be ensuing?
Well, there is a divide between people who follow and know the Middle East and the president himself. And an exasperated source said to me that this could be the end of the Trump presidency. The president does not appreciate the implications of his decision to pull U.S. troops out of Syria, which will allow Turkey to continue its advance. For the people who do know the region within the administration, they are arguing that the decision amounts to a demolition of U.S. power in the region that will only benefit Russia, Iran, Bashar al-Assad, and ISIS. Yet the president is convinced that he is doing this country a favor by pulling out a relatively small number of troops. There is no broader strategy or policy. All of this is being retrofitted to fit the president's decision to withdraw.
It is interesting, though, Margaret, that some of his staunchest allies are speaking out against him, too. Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell. You really don't see that happen very often.
You don't, and unfortunately for them, it's falling on deaf ears. Their calls for the president to rethink this decision just had no effect, and in fact, the president doubled down with that late Saturday night decision to pull everyone out. And it's also interesting that the Pentagon itself is saying that there are many dangerous ISIS detainees in Syria right now who have been released. And so you have the administration warning that ISIS is running all over eastern Syria virtually unchecked, yet the president doesn't seem concerned that it's going to destroy his narrative of having defeated ISIS. That could hurt him when he's on the campaign trail. But he believes all of this isn't his problem, but rather the problem of Turkey and Europe if there's a terror attack.
Margaret, what impact are these new sanctions and this visit from Vice President Pence likely to have on Turkey?
Sanctions are going to punish Turkey, but they're not going to prevent anything. They're punitive. They're not preventative. The action's already been taken. And the administration briefed reporters yesterday and said, basically, there's nothing America could do to stop Turkey. Once Erdogan consolidates his gains, the ceasefire that they're expected to try to broker with Vice President Pence will still benefit Russia as well as Iran and Turkey.
Margaret Brennan, thank you, Margaret.